to appropriate monies in order to make those payments.
And where does the money come from?
Where does the money come from? Are you pulling out of the air?
General fund.
Griff's gonna pay it. Griff has it.
Every year, the county submits a budget, and our budget hearing is the third Monday in July. Gene, is that correct? And like last year, $23 million budget, okay? Part of that budget was your civic centers, everything you back up and you go through that's been built in Lincoln County in the last 25, 30 years has been done through that, and that's the 12 mills. The basic premise of it is the 12 mills, we sit in the chairs to do that, bring it to the public every year for an annual budget appropriation. And so, like in this case, the two civic centers, when they were being built, the budget appropriations for that given year were like $2.5 million in those two line items alone. And so that's the kind of appropriations you would make.
Where did the money come from? The taxpayer?
That's those taxpayers' money. Your general fund is
So
your,
does that mean that we have the debt?
you have that for that given year. When the budget's approved every year, it's just like right now, you have a $23 million budget out there. That was what it was approved last July.
We will have a debt.
Pardon me?
We will have a debt on the jail. The taxpayer will have a debt.
No, the money that's put in there is not a debt money. It's what is being generated by taxes, so that's not considered a debt. That's revenue that comes into the county. I mean, I understand what you're asking, but it's not a debt, because if we have, like right now, we're trying to figure out what the new budget's going to be, okay? And so you'll go out there and estimate what a budget is and try to set a budget. And our budget hearing will be the 23rd, I don't remember the date, 19th of July is when it will be. So.
I would like to go back to this lease. On February the 16th, the county commissioner's minutes in paragraph 10 says that a 20-year lease will be about $2.1 million per year, which comes out to about $42 million. That's over and above the cost of the jail. That's over and above the cost of upkeep or any of the management of the jail. $42 million in 20 years. So I don't know where you're planning to get that money from. I would like to know that.
From us. It's coming from us.
Yeah, from us.
Is
I've got a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to not say that we were here to understand the need for a new county jail. My purpose in this was to understand why we chose to go with the lease to own off. And that's where my concern comes in on this whole project. First of all, I have the first question is, who dropped fundamentals to the steps of the courthouse?
Can I answer that? We heard about the project through a company called Harbor Capital in Salt Lake.
And they were contacted, you said earlier, by Steve Chief.
No, I was.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said earlier.
I was proactively going out and looking for projects that fit into this niche of high credit rated entities, looking for projects of specifically essential use. These kinds of.
That was the answer to my question. We stopped.
Okay.
Who brought fundamentals to the courthouse?
Thank you.
On the second, one of my questions is, while you're up, you might as well answer this. You mentioned in your, like she said, in paragraph 10 on February 16th meeting minutes, you had a site under contract for the development of this property. That was in the meeting minutes.
Sure.
So what site is that?
We have 2 sites under contract.
And whose decision is where that will be built?
Whose decision will it be?
Yours or the county?
I just asked you, whose decision has the final say of where that property, where this building will be built?
Let me explain to you the process.
Now, whose decision?
just answer the question.
Easy question.
It'll be a mutual decision with significant input from the county.
Okay, define significant input.
Basically, here, if you, with all due respect, let me explain to you how it'll work.
Okay, I
Well-
understand how it works. I've seen the pre-construction sign, contract you've already signed, and there's one individual that can make binding decisions from the county commission, that's Jerry Harmon. So, significant input from one person on the commission can decide where this is going to be built.
Jerry's
Significant input doesn't say we can say yea or nay. It's- they can put-
Jerry's counsel with all of his commission and input on the sites.
No, well,
Does he have to? No.
in the pre-construction service that they've already signed, it says one person has.
Can he? Yes.
Yes, he can.
Has he? No. He's
Right.
involved the entire commission in consult. And the way the process works is,
I'm not interested in how the process works, I'm interested in the contract that the county's already signed.
okay, thank you. I'm just trying to answer your question.
You,
The way the process works is, we're going out and putting several pieces of property under contract. We propose to compare all those properties, apples to apples. There's a lot of costs when you're developing a project. There's the cost of the land, there's the cost of the development, there's cost implications that you can't see because you have to do soils investigations.
I agree.
There's implications to the building on topo. So once we figure out what all the costs are on all these 4 sites and are able to compare them apples to apples right next to each other, we'll give that objective information back to the commission and they'll give us their best selection. At this point, chances are low because of the hiatus we've had for the last month.
What is the one site that is under contract that is listed? in-
There are 2 sites now.
One site.
The one at the time is at the junction of Highway 30 and 189.
That was owned by Steve Keeps, who brought this project on the minutes. Is that wrong, or was that right?
He had talked to Harbor Capital about it. We went to Harbor Capital looking for several projects. This was one of them that they mentioned.
That's my whole point of this lease to own option, in my opinion, is a way.
I can show you right now that the lease to own will save the county $40 million over the life of the term.
I'm sure it will. But I'm saying the lease to own option does away with anything as far as conflict of interest, which is a principle in government that our taxpayers' money ought to be protected by. And that's my whole issue with this whole thing. I know we need a new jail. I've talked with the sheriff, I've talked with a number of deputies. I'm not opposed, and you're not the guy I need to be talking to. Because
I
you're
can
not
sit
the
down and
government.
show you line item by line item that the county will save millions by this.
I want answers from these people here.
Let me,
Not you, you're not elected by me. These people are right here.
actually, I am an elected official.
You're not right now. You'll be elected maybe this coming year, but you're not elected right now. You were appointed.
But I can answer your question. I feel the role of an elected official, and if I don't satisfactorily answer your question, you can talk to these folks. With respect to the conflict of interest issue, that's a law enforcement issue. And the reason you probably don't want to hear from me is because we've already talked about this on the phone on multiple occasions. That's a law enforcement issue to investigate. That's not something that we have the power to investigate and say.
Is that why the DCI was called to look into this deal? Because it was done behind all of our backs before anybody knew about anything?
Yes, DCI was called because they are law enforcement.
Okay,
so it's a law enforcement
I'd
issue.
like to ask the commissioners individually, do you believe that this is the correct way to go about doing this?
I
Yes or
do.
no?
You want me to?
No, I say yes or no answer. I don't need an explanation.
Yes, I do. Nick, did I call you about some ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was great to put in there.
I would say no.
And maybe why.
I think I can address why I said no.
I'm sorry, I didn't get Jerry the same opportunity, so.
No.
Yes. You would have to build civic centers and other stuff the same way. It's the unfortunate part of it.
How about that meeting we had over in Coalfield late summer where you proposed the 6 pane